Hello everybody. In this lesson we will talk about one type of infectious disease, that is cholera, in Russian cholera. So what are the objectives of this lesson? We will learn the pathogen of the cholera, how people infected with this pathogen, when this pathogen enters the human body, what are the common symptoms, and as a homework you will learn the strategies to prevent and control the spread of the cholera, and you will learn the latest statistics of this illness and the maybe fatality rates of this illness in Kyrgyzstan at home. But before starting, let us review the old topics. First of all, let us learn, or let us remember what is pathogen. Pathogen is any kind of organism that brings illness. Pathogen and the parasite can be used interchangeably because they are same things actually. But parasite, the word parasite is used in ecology, while the word pathogen is used in medicine. But in general way, they are the same thing. So the pathogen of the cholera, if we talk about the pathogen of the cholera, it is bacterium. Of course, when we are talking about pathogens, it can become virus, or it can be bacteria, or it can be fungi or other organisms. But the pathogen of the cholera is actually bacteria. So the cholera is bacterial disease. And if you look this picture, as you see in this picture, this bacteria has a kind of coma shape with its long flagellum. This bacterium lives in water, and sometimes they can be found on the skin or on the body of some kind of water animals, such as crabs, shellfishes, or shrimps. And when these pathogens enter the human body, they can cause cholera. The name of this, the scientific name of this bacterium is called as Vibrio cholerae. The name Vibrio comes from its shape, the coma shape. If you remember from your previous years, you learned that bacteria can be classified according to their shapes. The bacteria which have a round shape, they are called as cocci. The bacteria which has broad shape, like a palochka, like a stick, they are called as bacilli. The bacteria which has a round shape like this, not round but a kind of coma shape, they are called as vibrio. And the bacteria which has a spiral shape, they are called as spirilla. So the cholera's pathogen, the bacteria which cause cholera, they have coma shape, this kind of bacteria. So this is the pathogen of cholera. How these pathogens, how these bacteria enter the human body? So let us look about this. When we look these two pictures, especially the first picture, we can see that a child taking water from a dirty place. Maybe they will use this water as a food, or to prepare a food, or maybe to wash the clothes. But as a result, they will use this water. If this water contains Vibrio cholerae, if this water contains the pathogens of the cholera, these people will be infected and will have the disease cholera. And there may be a question how the water may contain the bacteria. So the second picture shows that in some countries, especially poor countries, even if it's not a poor country, the cities where there are poor people are living, where there is a poor sanitation, there's no good sewage system, and especially outside toilets, or in other ways, open defecations. So bacteria can mix to the water from the toilet because people who infected with the bacterium, they throw away this bacterium with feces to the outside. And when they mix with the water, if you look the back side of the picture, we have a water. And if this water mixes with the normal drinking water or other ways, or generally when the children playing with the water, they can be infected. So in this way, the bacterium finds another person and continue its life cycle. So from these pictures, we understand that this bacterium infect the people when the people ingest, eat, or drink contaminated food or water. So if the water contains the bacterium, this water is contaminated water. Sometimes, of course, some kind of vectors, which means carriers, may transmit the bacteria. For example, generally flies visit the toilets to find food for themselves, but the bacterium can attach to their legs, and when these fly, if they go back to the houses where we have fruits or vegetables, and when we eat them without washing, the bacteria can penetrate into our body. So we can be also infected by the bacterium when there are some insects such as housefly transmit them. So what happens if they infect our body? Let us talk about the symptoms. Because bacteria pass the human body with the food, so generally this illness affects our digestive organs, especially small intestine. When this bacteria enter to our small intestine, they start to produce poison. Of course, symptoms don't appear within 12 hours, but within 12 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, or 12 hours, the symptoms start to appear. What are the common symptoms? Common symptoms are actually, of course, nausea, vomiting as it shows in this picture, okay? And the diarrhea. And another main symptom is dehydration. So these are the common symptoms, but of course they have other symptoms such as in this picture. Because people dehydrate when they lose water, the skin become dry, which means skin loses its elasticity. Low blood pressure is another symptom. Because people lose water when they infected, they start to feel thirsty, and of course they start to lose weight. But the common symptoms are nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, and dehydration. According to statistics, 75% of the people who have the bacteria in their body, they don't show symptoms. So they don't think that they have illness. And these people generally also become carrier to another people. But the 25% of the people, they have these common symptoms, and some of them have become severe illness, some of them have mild illness. But if it's treated, most people will recover. But if it's not treated, people die because of the dehydration. And according to statistics, mostly children die because of the dehydration, because of the cholera. Because children generally play where there is a dirty environment, and they play with the dirty ground or water, they swim in the dirty water, and accidentally they may get the bacterium and they lose water. And when the parents don't take them to doctor earlier, they can die by losing water. Of course, there are some treatments, especially rehydration therapy. So because person is losing water, by the rehydration, they can stay alive. Antibiotics can be used, but it's not recommended because bacteria become stronger to the antibiotics when the antibiotics used a lot. And there, statistically also, antibiotics are not used much. They can be only used against people who are nearly dying to stop the bacterial reproduction. But the most used treatment is the rehydration therapy. So let us look about the statistics. According to statistics, when we look this map, we can see that this illness, cholera, is mainly in these areas, African countries and the Asian countries especially. So these countries are generally either developing countries or underdeveloped countries. Some developed countries may have, for example, Australia, it's in the which year in 2015 reported some cases of the cholera, but they become endemic in these countries. So what does endemic mean? Endemic disease means these diseases are always seen in a certain countries. So these countries are generally poor countries, developing countries, and the poor countries have poor hygiene, poor sanitation. Maybe there is no effective system of using the sewage. So generally these countries are affected. According to the World Health Organization, in each year, nearly 4 million people have the disease. Of course, most of them are recovered, but in each year, 143,000 people die because of this. And it's not a small number, it's really a very big number. So that's why this disease is really dangerous disease. So what we learned from this lesson is, first of all, we learned that cholera is a bacterial infection. It's caused by a coma-shaped bacteria that is called Vibrio cholerae. This bacteria penetrate the human body when the human takes the food and water which contains that pathogen. And when this pathogen enters the human body, it affects the small intestine. It destroys the function of the small intestine, and the symptoms starts within 12 hours. And the diarrhea, vomiting, and the dehydration, losing water, are the common symptoms of the cholera. And we learned that cholera is an endemic disease, which are seen in generally underdeveloped countries, in the poor countries, because there's no sanitation and not good hygiene and no effective sewage system. So your homework is to learn about the strategies, 3 strategies to prevent and the control of the spread of the cholera by watching the 5-minute video, the story of cholera from the YouTube. So there's a link in here, and find from the internet the latest statistics of the prevalence, how many people have the disease, and what's the fatality rate in Kyrgyzstan. Latest statistics means maybe in 2018, maybe 2019, maybe 2017. So the last 3 years you can find and write your answers in a Word document and send it to my personal mail. Thank you very much. See you later.